Hi, Nikki. Thank you very much for taking part in the Business Spotlight series.
No
I'm gonna
problem.
gonna hand it straight over to you to introduce yourself, your company, and what you do.
Hello there. My name is Nicola Murphy. I'm Group Chief Executive of a London-based trilogy of agencies. The River Group, we are 29 years young. This year, we're an integrated marketing services agency. So we do everything from TV through podcasting, through social media, down to point of sale, out of home and magazines. So pretty much everything that you might want for all you CMOs listening out there. We have a PR agency called Maven, which operates in the do good things space. So mostly around health, wellness, lifestyle and beauty. And we have a not-for-profit community interest company called Reflect, which is a D&I focused talent management agency. So we find and manage talent from differences in society. So that might be LGBTQ, disability, people of colour, neurodiversity, facially different, bodily different, however anyone identifies to be different. And we find those people and manage their careers and place them into media and marketing campaigns. The aim of that agency is to help brands and businesses to become more diverse, but also the social enterprise element of it is to help the media to properly represent society in its all its wonderful colour, so that as Katie Piper, one of our trustees, said to us, you can't be what you can't see. So really to get onto TV, into magazines, into advertising campaigns, everybody that you might see on the street, not just those people that look normal, as brands and advertisers might class it. And we set it up as a community interest company because we thought it was a great idea, and the profits that we make go into bringing people from socially immobile backgrounds into agency world and teaching them how to be journalists, videographers, designers, whatever that might be. So hopefully I'll start singing Circle of Life in a minute. Media campaigns will be made by diverse and inclusive people and will therefore be naturally more diverse and inclusive. So that's what I do. Very long introduction. I'm chief exec of those agencies.
Fantastic. And how long have you done that for?
So I set up the first agency, River, in 1994. So that is nearly 29 years ago. I moisturise, Ed.
I was going to say, of course. Um, and no, who's a sort of typical person then that is a client of yours from the PR side, I suppose?
Well, we work with lots of different brands. One client that's common to all the agencies is Superdrug. So we've actually worked with them in the main agency, River, for 20 years, in the PR agency, Maven, for 10 years. Because the managing director of Maven, Lisa, used to work with Superdrug at a different agency before she came over to set up Maven with me and brought Superdrug with her. And also Superdrug was one of Reflect's first clients too. But we work with a variety of UK, European and some global clients, mostly large blue chips, and they could be in any vertical. So we work for RS, which is one of the world's biggest FTSE 100 manufacturing businesses where we produce B2B content. We work for a number of banks, financial institutions, and we work for lots and lots of customer-facing retail brands like Boots, Holland & Barrett, Superdrug, Lloyds Pharmacy, and then we work for organisations like Vitality Health Insurance and quite a lot of charities. So Ramblers, we've worked with for nearly 12 years actually on their content.
Excellent. That's a wide range for sure.
It
And
is. It certainly is. Every day is a school day, Ed. Nothing is the
definitely.
same.
And look, on that, I guess it must have been an interesting time. You've been going for a good amount of time. What was the impact of COVID on the business?
Well, it was actually pretty positive. When we went into COVID, we were probably revenue-wise in the main agency about 50% print and 50% digital. We started all those years ago as what's called a contract publisher. So that was if you got on a Virgin flight, in the back of the seat, there was a magazine. River would have produced that for you. If you walked into a supermarket and picked up a recipe-led magazines, chances are we would have produced that for you. So when we went into COVID, about 40 to 50% of our revenue was still print. In COVID, I don't know if you remember, everybody thought that you could catch COVID from everything, including paper. So magazines saw a bit of a decline. And what we started to do instead, because organisations still needed to keep in touch with their customer bases, was to morph that into a lot of digital and social media content. And now after COVID, we're probably 90-10 digital and social media content. So over COVID, we built a TV studio, we built a podcast studio and a photographic studio. We didn't have them before. We also built a bar because that was the only way I thought I was going to get my people back. It has been quite successful. So COVID was pretty good for us. We won quite a lot of accounts, and it's kind of weird as an agency pitching from your bedroom, but that's sort of what happened. I've got lots of children, and I've got 6 kids, and 5 of them were at home. And my husband is chief executive of a tech business, so he was also on Wi-Fi and pitching. So we had this little kind of, who's going to be where today, who's in the kitchen, who's in the lounge, who's in the office, who's in the bedroom. I invariably ended up in the bedroom, but it was most comfortable, so I didn't care. So we did lots of pitching and we won lots of accounts, which means we took on quite a lot of new people, which was fabulous. And we also learned lots of new skills. So overall, long answer to a short question, it was positive for us.
That's great. And then, so what does it look like moving forward? What are I suppose the goals, and at the same time, what are the challenges?
Well, having had a really successful COVID, we've now hit, briefly hit Liz Truss, and now the economic downturn, and working probably a third of our clients are retailers across the agencies. And they're all cutting their budgets. People are shopping less. They're being very mindful of what they're putting in their pockets. So while we haven't lost any significant business to date, touch wood, I'm touching wood, people are reducing their budgets. So that's the challenge, because we don't have lots of people sloshing about waiting for work to do. We do hire based on a client's brief. So I think it's going to be a challenging period. And who would have thought, right, for you business owners out there, that first of all, we'd have Brexit, then we would have COVID, then we would have the Ukrainian war with all the distribution problems that caused for, manufacturers, retailers, businesses out there, but also therefore for their agencies, that's like us. Then we had Liz Truss, now we've got the economic downturn. So I think it's going to be bumpy in 2023.
Yeah, it's been an interesting time. I think I've stopped saying that won't happen.
Yeah, it's a bit like not saying to people Happy New Year the 3rd week in January. When can we stop saying that? Yeah, I think it's look, as a business owner, and I've got a number of businesses outside agency world too. Sometimes it's brilliant and you think you're the best thing since sliced bread and the best entrepreneur ever, and the next minute something happens that's completely out of your control, and things take a downturn and you've just got to go with it, and sometimes it's going well and other times it isn't. And as my dear departed dad said, the main thing about success in business is to just keep going. And I think that's true.
Well, on that, I was just about to ask you, what's been your biggest learning as a business owner?
Just keep going. What's been my biggest learning? Careful who you offend, I think. In my world, the majority of my businesses, as I said, are agencies. It really isn't yesterday's chip paper. I mean, if you let a client down or you get the sack, I think we've been let go 6 times in 29 years. I'm pretty proud of that. The average tenure for a marketing and advertising agency is 3.5 years, and we've worked with some of our clients much longer than that. So Holland & Barrett, 27 years, Superdrug I mentioned, 20 years, and lots of others for a significant amount of time. But, sometimes you do stuff wrong, and sometimes you are regretfully let go. And those people come round again. And they get other jobs and they remember. So I think, doing your best job all of the time and trying not to upset anyone is good learning in agency world, because the good relationships come round, and a lot of our work, most of our new work, comes from people that have moved organizations and taken the businesses with them, which is fantastic. And if you're listening, thank you very much. But on occasion, you do mess up, everybody does, and somebody will get a great new job and you'll think, I wish we hadn't buggered it up when we worked for them, but we did. So shall I approach them or not? Most often we do. And sometimes we turn them around. So I would say careful who you upset.
Good advice, definitely. And as a slightly similar but different question, what advice would you give to your 18-year-old self?
Oh, golly, don't set up an agency. No, I'm joking. I think, and I'm going to sound like a Maya Angelou postcard. I think believing in yourself, really. I mean, I was a free school meals, hand-me-down clothes kid, my dad was a drinker, God rest his soul, and went bankrupt, and we had money apparently when I was little, and then it all went when I was 5 or 6. And it was pretty tough upbringing for myself and my siblings, but I was lucky. I was bright, and I managed to kid my way into some decent roles and then set up my own business. So I think having the courage of your convictions and just keeping going is good advice, and learning from people around you who may not be business people, actually could be anyone, and being kind, even though that sounds a little bit like a Maya Angelou postcard. It's true, I think, because most of, or some of, the really great contracts we've got were gotten through being polite to the chief executive's PA, when often people aren't. So yeah, that's the advice I'd give to my 18-year-old self. That, and don't worry about, not being able to fit in those size 10 jeans.
Excellent. Two good pieces of advice. And what is it that inspires you?
What inspires me? My dad, sadly departed now. The directors that I work with in the agencies, we're very pro-female here. That's not to say that we're not pro guys. So if you're applying, please do apply, whatever gender you are. But each of the agencies is run by a very strong female managing director, and that's something I'm very proud of. And about 70% of our workforce is female. And I think, women often get overlooked, particularly if they want to go away and have children and then come back to work. So that's something that's really important to me and important to the people around me. But I think, and so they inspire me. Jackie, two Jackies, Jackie and Lisa. But also some of our clients, they're incredibly loyal and give amazing advice. And also, they do ring up occasionally and go, Nikki, really? And I kind of think, oh, get yourself in check, and I think that's good. So I think people that inspire me are people that are honest and open and tell the truth, even if it's not good news.
Great. That was really interesting. And look, as a final thing, is there any news or any offer that you'd like to share with the audience?
Any news? Ooh, watch this space. We've just won a very large bank piece of business in the UK, which is lovely, although I'm not allowed to announce it until March. So that's always nice, announcing new business. But apart from that, I should keep my powder dry.
I know, that's great. It's just something tantalizing to wait till March to see who it is.
Tantalizing. Haven't been called that today.
I aim to please. So,
well, Ed, you definitely have. Thank you very much.
No, but look, my pleasure. Thank you very much for taking part. Great to find out more of what you do, and lots of really good, inspiring messages there. So thank you, Nikki.
No, not at all. I've enjoyed it, and you have a good day.